And a good afternoon to everyone. Hopefully, everyone's had an amazing day, amazing week, an amazing month. Good to see everybody. This was just a live that I just kind of popped up. I didn't have it scheduled. I just barely made it home for the live. So, welcome in, Rachel. Thanks so much for coming in. I sure do appreciate it. I apologize for that last minute pop up, but we had just literally walked in the door from grocery shopping at 5:45. So I was just like, I guess I probably need to get this going. So got her done, and now here we are. It's been nice weather around here for like a week. I mean, of course, it rained off and on, had some pretty bad storms, but uh, then today it's cold. Let's see. Welcome in, Pink Lily. Good to see you. Thanks so much for coming in. And Miss Nisi, thanks so much for coming in. It's good to see you. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys coming in without this ever even being scheduled. That means a lot to me. Like I said, I apologize that I didn't schedule it, but last week I just didn't make it home in time because I was working in the garden. Welcome in, Twilight. It's good to see you. Thanks so much for coming in. Me and Dad got the garden tillers going and got the garden turned. It won't be but another week. Not even Tuesday, St. Patrick's Day, and that's usually whenever we plant potatoes. But it's been so wet. The garden may not be dry in time to be able to plant anything, but we'll see. It's been a pretty interesting few days around here. Tuesday afternoon, I was on my way from work, and I have to pass by the center of a town on the way home. Just drive right through town, just keep going. For some reason, they had the whole a huge section of the road blocked off, and parking lots were blocked off where people couldn't access it. There was police cars everywhere. And when you look down into the area where they got it blocked off, they had a car off to the side of the road with a huge tent over it. And I knew something bad had happened. So I come home and went to looking up, breaking news. And so happens a person stole a car in Georgia and thought it would be okay to cross a bridge in front of one of those street cameras, I guess you call it, where it recognizes tags, and it alerted the police, and they had this police chase that went from probably 25 or 30 miles. And then this guy thought it would be a good idea to pull over right there in the center of town and turn the gun on himself and shoot himself. Luckily, he didn't die or anything like that. They got him to Erlanger, and they said he would make it, but he's in big trouble. And then the day after that, I carried my dad up to a local place where they do a food bank. And we were sitting there just waiting, for people to get in line and everything. And all of a sudden I kept hearing sirens coming. And welcome in, Daryl. Thanks so much for coming in. Good to see you. So, I agree there, Pink. Yeah, probably. But welcome in, Carolyn. Good to see you. Thanks so much. But come to find out, another police chase from Rainsville, where that little town was, right behind us, and they went to Georgia this time. So the person fled from Georgia, had a person flee from Georgia to Rainsville, and then one from Rainsville going to Georgia. It's crazy. But welcome in, Jackie. Thanks so much for coming in. Appreciate it. It's been absolutely insane either way, but I don't know what's going on. People's lost their minds or something. Who knows? But today I got out working on I've been working on a homemade wood heater, small, home built out of car wheels, and I've been working on that for months. Run out of money and got money in, got parts for it, got it put together, and I'm just doing little touches to it, little handles and all that. Welcome in, slow boy. Good to see you. Once I get it a little further, I'll kindly show y'all what this thing is. It's actually kind of neat. Uh, it's not really got the paint on it yet, but that's what we got right now so far. It's got to be painted yet. See, it opens up, but still in the process of working on it. Good evening, Miss Betty. Thanks so much for coming. It's good to see you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But just all kind of stuff going on. Last week had a really awesome video, a story that I had heard when I was a kid about Mr. Simply. If you hadn't watched that, you need to go listen to that story. It's a really good story, kind of heartbreaking, but in the end, it ends happy. And then I'm working on one right now that was submitted by our awesome brother Cody Lamb at the Imaginary Appalachian channel. Really amazing story. One that kind of sent chills down my bones, but at the same time, you know, we pray to the Lord to answer a prayer, and sometimes He does it in His own way. And that's what this one is. Involves an old ghost train of all things. So, welcome in, Brandon. Good to see you. Thanks so much for coming in. Appreciate that compliment. That means a lot to us. Thank you so much. But we have that story working on it right now. It'll be up hopefully Saturday if I can get all the pictures going. I got a little update about my job change. I got a date. I will be able to, I'm going to be changing jobs a little easier on me. Hours. Welcome in, Scully. Good to see you. Thanks so much for coming in. Instead of working 4 a.m. to 1 p.m., I'll be working 7 to 4, more like normal hours. So I'll be able to stay up later, and there's some channels that do live streams a little later in the afternoon that I used to love being a part of, but I had to quit because of the hours. But now I'll be able to go back in there and participate in that. And on Autumn's channel, the Myers Paranormal, we do a Monday night live, but sometimes I have to miss it because of work. And after, let's see. Welcome in, Robin. Good to see you. Thanks so much for coming in. Appreciate it. After the 24th, I will no longer be having to miss live streams because of work. So be able to spend a little more time in the afternoon with Hope and Autumn instead of having to go to sleep earlier. And another thing is I'll be getting off after the heat of the day so that I'll be able to get right in the garden when I get off and do some working. So, and then of course in the wintertime, the sun's already up. I'm not having to drive to work at night. So that's something else I'm looking forward to too. But either way, all these good changes are coming. Good content coming for Saturday, and I guess I need to get me off of here. And let's get into our story. I forgot to change my. Don't pay attention to that skeleton hand. I absolutely forgot to change that. I was in a hurry. Yeah. I may just put. Let me see. Can you guys still hear me? Let me put it in the comments if you can. I'll just leave this up. because I forgot to change my little app thing. Whenever I went live, I use one from something else. So anyway, this story. All right, thank you for letting me know that. Tonight's story is a submission from, where you at? Right there. Thank you so much. This is going to be a story that she sent in last week, I think it was, and we're going to read it on this live stream. So sit back, relax, and let's see what we get into here. Okay. This is when I lived in Glasgow before we moved. I lived at the other place for around 30 years. That's when I hit learning the internet. Because of my computer, I was sitting in different places in my apartment. I started noticing something in my kitchen. I started seeing this woman in a long, white, floor-length nightgown. She didn't move, flinting and fast, as most do when you see them. She moved at a regular pace where I could see her. She was coming through my refrigerator and would go right through where my right microwave was sitting. And she wouldn't be gone. She would be gone. She would continue to do this about 4 to 5 times a week. I told David about her when he started hanging at my place. He would see her as well. Then we got married and I moved to his place. We started seeing her pass by us while we were in the hallway. She would never pass by us at the same time. She would pass by us one at a time. There, it didn't matter which way of the hall we were going, up or down. She would come. And then we both moved back where I was living before, and she was back too, just coming through my fridge and go through my microwave, and poof, she was gone. Since we have moved where we are now, we have not seen her, not even once. Can't figure that one out. But when I hit the World Wide Web, I started seeing her. Then she moved with me and moved back with us. She never did do anything to seem like she was aggravated or anything of that sort. Let's see. Well, we hope that everything goes well with your healing and everything. And we enjoy you when you can be here. And uh, we try to leave our live streams online. So if you do miss it, you can go back and watch. And if you have a comment, you can leave it down in the comments below. And of course, we try our best to get to them. I might be a little behind right now, but you know. But man, that is a story, though. Could you imagine that? Having a spirit that goes through the refrigerator and walks through into the microwave and disappears. And whenever you move, she wanders the halls. And then whenever you go back, she's right there. But I wonder why whenever you moved the third time it didn't come with. I don't know. That one's a curious one, but sometimes seeing things like that will scare you to absolute death. Uh, Especially, if you're not used to seeing those kind of things. And then there's freaks like me that like seeing stuff like that and then like to go and communicate and whatever. But, and you was lucky that she didn't do anything but walk, because sometimes they like to mess with you, move things around, slam doors. But just those kind of experiences, they're not something that everybody gets to experience. My hip is healing well after about 9 weeks. Right now, my back is a big problem. This is probably weak core muscles. Yeah. Plus, whenever you have one hip hurting, you usually put your weight on the other one, and that can mess with your back too. But glad to see you're getting better, though. Welcome in, Karen. Thank you so much for coming in. And guys, I went yesterday. While I see Karen here, we paid for the mailbox for not but 3 months, but for the whole year. So our PO box is going to be there. We're going to start paying it by the year. It wasn't but like $106 for the whole year, but so we have that secured for the year. So it'll be there for prayer requests and stories and whatever else. I'll have to go look what it is. I always forget. I know it's 312 PO Box 312, Scottsboro, Alabama 35768. That's what our PO box is. And you put Myers Tales of Appalachia. If you got any kind of stories or anything like that you'd send in, feel free. Prayer requests, whatever, cards. We appreciate everything that you guys have sent in. Really, really appreciate it. And appreciate Karen for helping pay and help get that started. Let's see. I'm an outdoors person. Unfortunately, I won't get to do much this year, kind of like last year. Well, maybe you can do a little, maybe there's a park or something that you can go to that, park pretty close to a bench and just sit out and just watch the birds or something where you can get outside. Hopefully. Hopefully. But all right, guys. Now for the last story that I'm going to do. This is going to be coming from the Phantom Phenomena book that we have. If I had a kitchen ghost, I'd hope they would go to cooking. I'd appreciate that. That's funny. Oh me. But this story, it's called Cynthia. Yes. While all the houses we walk by daily, it's only natural to wonder what goes on in them. What sorts of people live there? What do they watch on TV? Do they prefer warm or cool light? What horrors lurk behind the doors we may never open? The location is the outskirts of town somewhere in the South United States. The date and time is the dead of night during the summer of 2021. The atmosphere is eerily silent until they hear a distant laugh. All right. I'm a young police officer in a southern city. As a child, it was my dream to become a police officer. I made tinfoil badges and carved sticks that looked like pistols. I took reports with crayons and chased imaginary criminals. 20 years later, well into my job, I average 3 hours of sleep and have grueling anxiety attacks like my peers. I've seen terrible things. It's what we signed up for, so don't expect sympathy. Okay, here we go. But of all the horrible things I've seen and witnessed, my trauma comes from 2021 when I responded to a call that haunts me every second of my life. It was around 3 a.m. I was typing a larceny report in my car while the show Ozark played in the background. The night shift was short-handed, so my typical beat partner wasn't working. Dispatch requested for a welfare check, which was when you are asked to ensure that someone is safe and sound. Welfare checks are usually harmless, although it's when you're more likely to find deceased bodies. The reporting party is usually a family member who could not get a hold of the person. I received the information and started driving. They tasked me with checking the welfare of an elderly woman named Cynthia who lived alone on the outskirts of town, barely inside the city limits. Her granddaughter lived a few states away and hadn't heard from her. She assumed her grandmother accidentally switched off her cell phone to silent, as she often did. Dispatch usually sends two officers, but every now and again they'll give an officer an option to take the call alone. Because of staffing levels and the nature of the call, I handled it myself. Worst case scenario, Granny bit the dust, and I would call a medical examiner to work an unattended death. I drove a good 15 minutes to the residence. There were no other houses in the area. It was so quiet that the sound of gravel under my tires was thunderous. Beyond the mailbox was a locked gate and a long dirt drive. I had no desire to walk that driveway alone in the dark without my patrol car. My hand instinctively went to the radio, but I decided against calling for another officer. I would have looked silly asking for another after committing to doing it solo. Plus, I would have been it would have been even longer drive for them. I manned up, jumped the gate, and made what turned out to be the worst decision of my entire life. If it wasn't for the moonlight and the darkness would have been so deep that I couldn't even make out my own feet. Law enforcement training had taught me to be tactical with my flashlight. I'd only used it in short bursts. It was a good way to be sneaky. I finally reached the home and stood in front of it. It was an old wooden house with 2 stories. Let's see. Every window was pitch black, besides one on the second floor. It had a purple curtain with white stripes. I stepped on the unstable wraparound porch and listened carefully. There was nothing but absolute silence. No TV, no creaks, no fans. Everything still. I tentatively knocked and announced myself. There was no answer, no noise to be heard. I knocked even louder and announced again, but still nothing. I stepped off the porch to reevaluate the situation. Once far enough, I looked up to the second story. The light was off. Normally, I wouldn't find something like that unsettling, but an eerie feeling washed over me, heightening my senses. Since the light was off, I couldn't see whether someone was looking back at me. I had a terrifying feeling that they were. I grabbed my flashlight, shined it in the window. No one was standing there, but the curtain had moved and was still swaying. I went back to the door and knocked even louder. My voice filled the night, disturbing the silence. I explained who I was and which police department I was with. For several minutes, I stood waiting for any sign of life. I was ready to hightail it back to the road, but I figured I would wait one more minute. I had done my job. My purpose was being there to verify she was still alive. If she wanted to ignore me, fine. It creeped me out, and I was without a partner, so I wasn't going to press the issue. Before walking away, I tried the doorknob, which is something that I usually disapprove of, since it could be a breach of the Fourth Amendment, which safeguards citizens from unjust and unwarranted searches. I couldn't enter the home without a warrant, exigent circumstances, or permission. To my surprise and regret, that door opened. The heavy wooden door creaked as it slowly swung open, eventually hitting the wall with a loud bang. I shined my light inside. It was definitely an old lady's residence. Everything, everything was lavender and tidy. There were creepy portraits of hairless cats on the walls. There were also statues of them. I reached my hand inside to flick on the light, but it didn't work. At first, I thought the house had no power. There was no sound of electricity, and it was hotter than a sauna with no airflow. Then I remembered, wait, the light upstairs. The whole situation began to be unsettling. I dialed my supervisor to get his opinion. I was hoping he would tell me to leave. Calling the reporting person and explained what I had observed. Before I dial, I heard a sound that haunts me every night. A chilling noise that will die with me. You won't believe me, but I don't blame you. It was the sound of intense laughter, not giggling, but dolorous, gut busting laughter from what sounded like an old lady. I never drew my Glock faster than I did right then. Hello? Who's in the. Before I could finish the sentence, it stopped. I'm not embarrassed to admit that I turned around and sprinted to my car. My grip tightened around the cold metal of my gun. Just as I left the porch, I was stopped in my tracks. Another quiet, loudly terrifying noise echoed from the house. This time it was the scream of someone clearly in distress. It sounded like the same voice, but I wasn't for sure. Dang, I thought to myself, extingent circumstances. I radioed dispatch and told them what I heard. I advised them to clear the house. Another officer started en route, but I could not wait. There was no way I could justify waiting 20 minutes to enter the house of an elderly woman in danger. Entering the warm living room, I quickly cleared the nearby spaces. I knew at least one person was upstairs. The narrow staircase led to a pitch black second floor. Before going up, I announced myself again to no avail. I began walking to the staircase as calmly as I could. I remembered imagining a scenario where I would be clearing the bedrooms, and then Cynthia, the grandmother. She would jump out of a dark corner. It would certainly be difficult to explain to the concerned family why I shot their grandmother. Then, when I was finally upstairs, I checked the two rooms that were completely empty. No furniture or anything. It dawned on me that the last bedroom was the one with that light on. I announced myself and prayed for a response without ever receiving one. I took hold of the doorknob and turned it. The door swung open, and I was immediately met with a nauseating odor. It was the worst I had ever experienced, almost literally knocking me down. I illuminated the room with my light. The air in the room was heavy with the smell of dead cats and their skinned bodies cruelly displayed on wooden crosses in every corner. Some were rotten, some were fresh. The room was filled with dry blood. Fur detached from claws covered the floor. I stumbled my way back downstairs where I was sick on the front porch. I ran to the road waiting for my partner. Once he arrived, we called for even more people and my supervisor. We cleared the house again, but there was no signs of Cynthia. Fast forward to the next evening. The reported person flew in and the other family members. They searched 10 or so acres of the property and found an old abandoned car in the brush. In the passenger seat, her grandma was leaning back, deceased, for what appeared several days. Neither detectives nor medical examiner could determine her cause of death. Detectives interviewed another family member who said Cynthia had severe schizophrenia and dementia. Inside her home, in a kitchen drawer, detectives discovered pages and pages of Hebrew writing. The writings translated to devoted allegiances to Baphomet, a devil god that many Satanists worship. Her writings claimed it asked her to sacrifice her beloved cats. Opinions differ on whether I actually heard Cynthia laughing and screaming or if the light upstairs was on. Trust me, I question myself. For some reason, my body camera never downloaded its footage to the system. It's like it never existed, even thought I know it was on. No other calls that night downloaded either. It even baffled my department. I have constant nightmares from Cynthia. In them, I hear that too familiar sinister laughter. She was unusually she has unusually long fingers and nails that almost scrape the ground as she walks. I never move fast enough to get away from her. I reach for my gun, but it's never there. She always gets me, then I wake up. I don't know why I'm still a cop. Maybe it's all I know how to do. I only have 12 more years and many, many therapy sessions before I can retire. I used to be a skeptic, but not anymore. Okay. Wow. Apparently, I didn't read all that story because I didn't know about the gruesomeness of it. But I could not imagine going through that house like that and finding out afterwards, when you seen the curtains move and the light turned off and through the laughter and screams, the lady had been dead the whole time. Makes you wonder, was she some sort of a pagan witch or something? Was was her mental health issues causing all this? I mean, my goodness, like that story right there, if you actually experienced that, that would be life changing. I wouldn't be able to ever go into a house by myself ever again. And whenever Pink Lily wrote that, it's literal. I bet you that house needs something now. But, and then to think, the families live so far away and then having to come home and find the devastation that's there like that. I mean, man, that is one of the most terrifying stories I have ever heard of. Ghost stories, they don't really creep me out, but that one absolutely creeped me out because that's no ghost. That's literal evil, absolute terrible, evil, devil type stuff. And my goodness is all I can say. And I'm glad that it was not me that experienced that. Uh, I really do want to thank each and every one of you guys for coming out, supporting the channel. I know that I still have got to do my 2,000 subscriber celebration. Uh, I'm probably going to redo this sign up here and be giving that away, and probably the cross that I have in the living room there. I'm probably going to be redoing that and giving it away. That'll be coming up sometime soon. I'm gonna try to get uh, Autumn on screen with me for that. We'll have a good old celebration and uh, just have a good old time doing it. And give a couple of prizes away, and because without, like I say, without you guys watching the videos, leaving your comments, watching the videos all the way through, sharing this out with your friends, letting it tells YouTube that you guys enjoy the channel. And uh, I know sometimes folks don't have time to watch the whole video through, but sometimes that can actually hurt a channel. When you watch a couple of minutes of video and turn it off, that lets YouTube know you might not be interested. And the more of those we get, they kind of stop sharing us out with people because they think people's not interested. But I really thank each and every one of you guys, like I said, for watching, subscribing, sending your stories, submissions. Thank our awesome sister Nisi and David Blair for sending in their stories. They really mean a lot, and especially when we get to share them with you guys. I really do. I need to get another book because we've absolutely just about read every story in this one. I'm looking into getting some Appalachian stories, base stories. Some of these, they take place other places other than the mountains, which is fine. History and spooky stories is still, we still share them. If you guys have any stories that you would like to share, it does not have to be from Appalachia. If you've had, a special memory with your grandparents, family based stories, working in the garden, or some sort of memory that you like to share, like fishing, hunting, whatever. Let me see. We have the email. You guys can shoot an email. Would tell us your story or prayer request, whatever. We try to get back as soon as we can. Sometimes I'm not notified that I got emails, but I try to check them every day whenever I can. But and if you don't want to do an email and you would rather write it in person, like I said, we have the P.O. Box. It's Myers Tales of Appalachia, P.O. Box 312. Scottsboro, Alabama 35968. And that's there for you guys if you prayer requests, stories, whatever. We appreciate that. If you send a package, it's we have that capability too. They put a key in our box and we'll just unlock it. We're not asking for anything of that nature. You don't have to send us cards or money, or you don't have to send us any gifts or anything. It's just there for, stories, prayer requests, whatever. It's there for you guys to use. Feel free to do it. And with that, I guess we're going to be ending for tonight. But like I said, Saturday, we got a story that come from our awesome brother Cody Lamb at the Imaginary Appalachian channel, and you are not going to want to miss that. It's super cool. Not every person has experienced a ghost train and lived to tell the tale. So come Saturday, you'll have to watch that. So until then, we'll see y'all later. Bye, everybody. Have a good night. Thank you for coming.